All right, we're changing this garbage disposal out. It's a 3rd horsepower. We're gonna put a 1/2 horsepower in. Usually you just want a 1/2 horsepower. Anything bigger, still got the same size drain line. So I usually tell people like a 1/2 horsepower is the standard, what you want to go with. So we'll disconnect it at first. We'll unplug it. This has an air switch on it. So either way, it's this wire, if it's hardwired in or if it's plugged in, it's not hot until you actually flip the switch. So, but we'll disconnect that first. We'll disconnect this trap. Usually you get it with your hand. Make sure there's a little bucket underneath there. When you disconnect this back nut, there's gonna be water that comes out. Disconnect this one. Empty the water out, put that off to the side. Well, we'll disconnect the dish. So I already loosened that with a nut driver. Disconnect that, pour that down a little bit, make sure you get all the water out of there. Put this bucket off to the side. Don't go pouring the bucket down the kitchen sink drain because you just disconnected it. It's a standard mistake. And then usually you can take a pair of channel locks or whatever you got to do to hook into this part right here, and then you just latch it like that. We'll take our nut and washer back for the next one, and this thing's missing the wire connector, but take a Phillips head screwdriver. You undo this screw. You got your wires there. There's no power hooked up to it. You should be good. Disconnect these. Put these off to the side for the next one. Undo your grounding screw. Get your wire back out. Put that off to the side. Now this one's trash. Then we'll undo the collar. If you really want to be lazy, you can just hook the old garbage disposal up to it's the same collar. If you really want to be lazy, or you really don't know what you're doing. But we're gonna change out the collar because I'm a professional. There's 3 screws here. Loosen them up. All the way. Screws have to be loosened all the way so this collar can go up. Push it up, there's a ring there. Pop that off. This is trash. I hope they didn't silicone it. Okay, good. They used putty. Throw this off to the side. Take your collar out. No, Rich is gonna open the new box. All right, we're unboxing the new one. It's the 1/2 horse incinerator, pretty standard. Put the box off to the side. So our flange tailpiece that you gotta use. The flange and the gasket. This is the key to unclog it in the future. We'll keep that underneath the sink somewhere. And you got your 2 screws here, which you don't have a new flange.
Right here.
Here's our new flange. We'll put this off to the side for now. We'll get our flange going. Phillips heads or flatheads. Phillip head or flathead. This is our stopper. We'll put that off to the side for now. That's, homeowner can use that. Like I said before, you want to get these screws all the way backed out. So you want all of them like that, so you can push this piece up as much as possible when you got to put your ring on. Here's your ring. Put that there. This all goes underneath. We'll get our putty. Get a little chunk of it. You don't need a whole lot. Don't go rolling it in a little snake thing. That's amateur hour. Of course, it's a little cold today, so the putty's not super warm, but all you gotta do is get a nice little ball. You want to make sure it's nice and even. Like I said, you don't need a lot, you just need, not much to go there. So that's about it. You want to put your letters facing, you know, the right way towards the faucet. Come in here, kind of give it a nice little push to get it into place so it doesn't pop out on you. This is always the hardest part of the garbage disposal. You got your washer up first, your triangle flange up second, and then this thing up. But you got to put this up, so if you see that little ridge, that's where this collar goes down on to keep this thing from falling off. Like I said, washer first, then the triangle flange, this part with the screws all the way back out. Usually I'll hook it to the back side first. We're started. Of course my screw fell out, but I got it snapped in all the way. The ring I have snapped in all the way, so this collar won't fall off. And you start tightening your screws evenly. Oh, sorry, missed a step. So you got to make sure this triangle flange is underneath your screws. Blew it. My whole team hates my guts.
You blew it!
So now we're good. So you see how it's lifting up the triangle flange? That's gonna push against the bottom of the sink. Get it in a nice position. It doesn't matter where this thing is. The triangle doesn't matter. Just tighten it up evenly. Sometimes towards the end, when it starts getting pretty tight, I'll use the flathead to give it a nice couple other, because the Phillips head, depending on which one you have, it kind of slips out. Make sure she's nice and snug. Other thing is, here's a helpful hint. If your sink is really thick where it goes through, they make an extension flange of this piece for that. So you're running that problem on like porcelain farm sinks sometimes, where the sink is too thick, and they make an extension, like a separate flange part. We'll come up here, wipe our putty off, make sure it's nice and centered, looks pretty good. Take a little flathead, whatever you want to do to get the rest of the putty off. Put your putty back in your container. Then we'll come over to our GD. Here's another common mistake. You have a dishwasher. This plug comes plugged off. You gotta make sure you knock it out. So every rookie plumber installs a garbage disposal, hooks up the dishwasher, forgets to do the knockout, and then they get a phone call saying the dishwasher's not draining, and you already know what it is. It's the mechanic forgot to take out this little knockout plug. Once you knock it in, you gotta grab it out of there. So that's done. We'll put our flange just like this. Our gasket over our flange just like this. We'll take our other flange, the screw flange. So it's just like that. Put it in there. Get both of them started. Stop. The screws are eventually going to stop against the plastic housing. So you can only get this so tight. You just got to make sure you go until it stops. Kind of center this piece coming down straight. We'll do our stupid electric. You only gotta loosen that screw a little bit because this thing will pop out. It's just in these three grooves with the screw. We're still gonna find that thing that we lost. All right, screw your little whatever you want. The Sparkies call these things 3/8 wire connector in. Doesn't really have to be real. Just make, it's just so the wires doesn't touch the sharp metal. Fish your plug through, grab a pair of needle nose so you can grab them wires real nice and easy. Put your connector in, the other side of your connector. Start it up. You want to do this wire before you put the garbage disposal up. So it's a real pain after. Can't get it underneath there. On this one, you actually have to take the grounding screw out and then hook the grounding screw in this hole with these plug ones. Make sure it's nice and snug. Get your wire nuts. I marked which one was the hot one, which one was the neutral. So you already know that. Usually you want to use a little bit better wire connectors. These just come with the kit, so that's what we're using. Make sure it's nice and tight. Shove it back in there. Put your plate back in. Tighten the screw. So if you're ever wondering how to unclog your garbage disposal, I'll show you in an easy way. So this is your reset button. Sometimes you just got to hit that. But sometimes if it gets clogged up, it comes with this key. It's an Allen key. I forget what size it is, 1/4 inch or something. But you just spin that, and it manually spins the motor. And sometimes you want to run water while doing it. But that's how you unclog garbage disposal as well. So we'll come back over here. Sometimes this part's a little tricky. I'll show you a little trick. Sometimes I use my foot to help me put it up there. So obviously, like these hooks, you see these hooks right there? They hook onto that track. So you can see, make sure all 3 sides are hooked on. Feel it around, get it as far as possible. Then take your groovy channel locks. This is what I like to do. I'll grab these 2 parts, adjust the channel locks again, and then boom, you'll feel it snap in, or it'll bottom out against the edge of that. Now you know you're in all the way. Take our trap back. We got our old washer. Throw the washer on. Throw this piece on. You know, you can get whatever started, but not this thing spins freely, so you can spin it over to wherever the trap is. So you come over here to where our trap is. I always like to get this nut started first back here. So that's the most important one. That one, you know, holds water right there. Get that nice and snug. Now we'll do this one. Washer goes bevel down, bevels into the trap. So we'll push up. Get that bad boy started. Take our groovy channel locks. Like I said, I like to do this back one first, because that one needs to line up perfectly. It's always hard to get on this back side. You just gotta get back there somehow, some way. You'll figure it out. I like to really snug these kitchen ones because garbage disposal shakes and then loosens the nut over time. You don't want to tighten it too much. All it is plastic. You end up cracking the plastic. But make sure she's nice and tight. That's the way we like them. Alright, that's tight enough. Then go to this one. You're really only supposed to put the channel locks where it presses those wing nuts, because if you're not on them wing nuts, you'll squeeze that nut and it won't turn. But I do it anyway, and it still turns for the most part. That's that. Sometimes I'll tighten this back. I'll just give it a little snug, just because I've been messing with it. Nice little snuggy poo. Put this on. Put it so you can easily access your hose clamp connection, tighten connection. Make sure it's on all the way. Get your trusty nut driver. I have a torque wrench here, but you can use a nut driver or whatever you want to use. You can even use a flathead on these. They're not, like, you're just tightening it a little bit. You're not going crazy. You don't want to crack the plastic. Usually these dishwashers, they work pretty well. I mean, like sealing up to the garbage disposal. All right, everything's hooked up. Run the sink. Plug in your cord. It's got to plug into the air switch. That's that. Make sure our air switch works. Bing, bang, boom. What I like to do is fill this up, fill the sink up a couple times. Fill it up, let it drain, hit the button while it's draining. You know, make sure everything's dry. Do it 2 or 3 times. If you really want to, you can run the dishwasher, make sure that connection's good. And then that's all there is to it.